This is most likely southern white admiral. Unfortunately, it wasn't that lucky. Don't know what happened to it exactly. Maybe just end of its life. Even though I think it's a bit too early for that. But he was there just on the side of the road. Still, I think it died quite recently. Quite beautiful to look at. But this is a good opportunity, and I will show you what I mean right now. This tall plant right here kinda, reminds of corn when you look at it very superficially and from great distance. Of course, it's not anything like that, but this is teasel. And why am I talking about that in the context of a dead butterfly is these little things over here. You can see there is a dead mosquito in one, and there are few more dead insects over here. There's one alive on the leaf, and more ponds on the other plant next to this one. Many more around it. When I was walking through here during a period of, well, let's say no rain, not really drought, but there wasn't any rain for at least 10 days. And the weather was quite summer-like, like it still is, well, kind of. These ponds still had stuff in it. They were full of water, even with days of no rain. And that was fascinating to me. Yeah, sure, we are in the woodlands, and that means it's quite damp, but still, they are in the open and sunshine hits them directly. So, by all laws of physics, more than 10 days of intense sunshine directed to that small ponds, they should evaporate, but they didn't. There is a research about those little ponds, and there is a certain amount of evidence that this is sort of semi-carnivorous behavior from this plant, because it seems it has the ability to take the nutrients of insects who die in this pond and use it to its advantage. So what a great opportunity to test this theory. I will leave this butterfly there, and we can check on it some days later to see the state of it. Okay, it's been around 1 week since butterfly was left here, and I do not see anything anymore. There's still a pond, some old dried leaves inside, but really no trail of the butterfly. It looks like it disappeared. And yeah, the ponds are actually a bit drier now, even though some of them still hang on pretty well. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that. Maybe some bird got it. Maybe the plant really digested it. Maybe some other bug got it. Who knows? I can only guess here. I am in kind of full focus because I hear footsteps, but I cannot tell what kind of animal it is, or human, even though humans are animals, Maybe we will meet some deer or fellow foragers today. I've seen a few. This one is something that will be quite familiar to many foragers. If there is one thing only that you forage around June, it is probably this elderflowers. This is their time of the year, and people pick them up often to make juices or teas. Sometimes you can even go further and make some food with it. Like, for example, I've seen a lot that elderflower fritters are popular. I didn't find them that appetizing, to be honest. Maybe I did something wrong. It was a bit too bitter to me, because with fritters, the way how they are mostly done is when you put it to fry, you put it like this with the stem, and the stem is really not edible. I believe it's mildly toxic. So if the bitterness was coming off of something, it was probably the remnants of the stem. But you know, suit yourself. I'm not saying you should not try to eat it. I'm just telling you my experience. So, picking it up, it usually snaps quite easily. Here, where the stem that keeps the flower is attached to the rest of the stem. That wasn't so easy for some reason. Usually it is easy. Well, this thing over here is blackthorn. Related to plums, actually same family. But if I would pick it up right now and try to eat it, it would be extremely sour or bitter. So I'm not going to do that. But what we can do is wait for the first frost, which is hopefully not coming soon. It will be some months. And after first frost, these things get a lot more sweet, and you can use them for different things. To speed up the process, you could take them and put them in the freezer. Maybe I could do that right now, but I'm not going to do it. I will just let them be. Here you can maybe miss seeing a snake in time, even though usually they hear you first and run away because they sense vibrations. I did have few occasions where they didn't really run away, but they would just kind of freeze and look at me. And it was not any snake, but actually the most poisonous one in this area. So I'm going to trust my eyes here and not rely on vibrations. Even though these tall, white, daisy-like flowers are kind of pretty, they are actually quite invasive. They are not native to Europe when they got here from North America. I think it was last century or some centuries ago, does not really matter, but now a lot of abandoned fields like these are filled with them, and as you can see, they quite overtake all the other grasses and other plants. They are crowded together. I don't see really much else managing to grow besides them. But yeah, let's try to look at the pretty side of the things there. Hundreds of butterflies right now, going all over the place, jumping from one flower to the next. So, yeah, trying to see the beauty in invasive species as much as I can. There was actually this app made by the government where you would report stuff, if you see invasive species. And surprisingly, a lot of people did use it. I just don't know what really happens when you do report it. I have a feeling not really much. There's either a snake, a toad, or a lizard. Let's see. does not move anymore. Ah, it moved. Okay. Oh, it's a giant lizard. All of these pink or purple percussion flowers, and only the same type of butterflies on them, those black and white ones. I think maybe it's some kind of admiral, possibly, similar to what I found on the way here. Yeah, it is so amazing to see how certain species get drawn by a very specific plant. It's like, there are rules of attraction. I don't know why I seem too surprised about that. It's like a basic law of nature, but anyway, maybe I should stop babbling and sit in the shades. This one is quite a common sight here on oak trees, not only here. So these are oak galls, and actually they are formed because of certain species of wasps. Maybe there is few of them. I believe you can actually identify them based on how galls look. But either way, what is inside should be a baby wasp, and as far as I know, they should go out during spring or summer, and if there is no hole here in the middle, it means the baby wasp is still in there. Knock knock. Yeah, I have a very hard time explaining to people at work what I did over the weekend. I think you understand now at this point why is that. So I better move away before they decide to hatch, if that is the right word. This oak tree gives a very nice shadow. It's too bad there's no bench here. Everything is buzzing with life. Now looking directly at the sun, trying to hide a bit behind the leaves. There it is. I guess if I zoom in, you will be able to see a lot of things flying around, different bugs, maybe even some pollen, who knows. Some plant parts flying around, even though it is not too windy for that. Yeah, it's very amazing, so peaceful. And I guess as the sun is setting, crickets will be louder and louder. They are already starting their courtship and I guess markings of territories, as it usually goes. It's interesting to think about these very primitive parts of our brains, because we are animals after all. We do have lizard brains, and I can say that I'm pretty sure certain individuals don't even have prefrontal cortex developed, if you know what I mean. So a few days ago I had this very let's say primitive, very basic adrenaline rush, because I was picking elderflowers for making juices and stuff, as we usually do this time of the year. And at the same time, another pair of foragers appeared, and they also went down my route. So I hid in the forests and I was listening to them. And I was just, there's only one thing on my mind at that point on, as I was, listening what's going on. Like, get away from my territory and leave my elderflowers alone. It was this core, I cannot explain it. I mean, I felt how ridiculous it is, because first of all, this is not my territory, neither is theirs. But this feeling, it's amazing. I wouldn't be even able to discover this part of myself if I wasn't there at that precise moment in that exact situation. It's not something that's very easily explainable. It is not I feel angry or I feel this or that. It is a mix of this very specific, like DNA engraved instincts of protection, safety, fighting, defending your own, It was a very interesting thing to feel. I don't remember, but I think I never felt quite like that. And I discovered my height was my advantage, because apparently they weren't able to reach the elderflowers that were up. So I am aware this is an oak tree. I'm just explaining how it looked when I picked the elderflowers. And I was able actually to fetch it from the higher branches, and I needed to jump a few times. So yeah, I felt like, fighting, using my advantages strategically. It felt so good. I felt like I'm using my whole brain, which I cannot say for the rest of the work week. The golden hour. Well, not quite, but it's almost there. The best time to record anything. Beautiful. And here I am in the dark. So there it is, quite random talk, possibly boring. You can maybe use it as a sleep aid if you have insomnia. But either way, something relaxing. I wanted to share what so funny how it hangs on to this stem. Let me turn you over. Well, I'm sure you will be a very pretty butterfly. I'll just leave you be. This is not good, as soon as I stand and look around me, I just see things. And I need to get home eventually, so until next time.